We have a fantastic show for you planned today. My name is Ron Nagy, and you are watching App Builder Live. Today, we're going to talk about the integration starter kit for Adobe Commerce. Let me bring on Danny and Angel. Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Ron. Thank you. And you?
Things are good. Things are gloomy here in California, but I'm hoping that it's a little bit nicer over there in Spain.
We have fine weather. It's cloudy, but it's
Wonderful. Okay. So you guys are going to talk about the integration starter kit. I will hand it over to, I think, Danny, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought we'd be sharing the screen and I will be starting the presentation. Welcome everyone to Commerce Integration Starter Kit live webinar. Before we are going through the slides, let me explain a bit what will be the menu for today. I will present from App Builder to that integration starter kit, which are the objectives, and introduce the new stage of today's session. That is basically a demo hands-on session, ending with what are the reference applications, what is the learning path to continue knowing more about the starter kit. So, because you must know the things about how to extend commerce changed drastically from 5 years ago to the current extensibility to that we have in our hand, right? We switched from more an process-oriented extensibility to a fully auto-process-oriented extensibility, where clearly API first become the center of everything. And we also started to incorporate other tools, solution partners, and able to extend commerce in the manner that they want to match the business requirements of B2B and B2C merchant and whatever is the different extensions or customization that they need to put on top of our current platform. Things like webhooks, where we can incorporate real-time code from Adobe Commerce to interact the shopping experience of whatever other interaction in a real-time manner. Also, UI extensibility to being able to start to incorporate UI inside your admin panel to start to impact at the end the experience from a commerce manager or shopper assistants, things like that. And last but not least, that we will be focusing a lot today on eventing, right? Because eventing is critical when you are building a back office integration. So we will be explaining a bit how we decided to go from that, I would say, 5 pillars from extensibility standpoint, and why we decided to build that framework called Integration Starter Kit. Integration Starter Kit basically was built because we consider that all the pillars are all of them really good, right? And are basically the tool set and the foundations for you can extend your e-commerce experience with out-process extensibility. But we felt that is not enough when you are trying to build really complex enterprise backend integrations like ERP, CRM. They are pretty challenging, right? And having a good predefined data flows and a good framework from a technology perspective would be really important from a, first of all, try to ensure that everyone is building the things following best practices, but also trying to lower the cost of the ownership and simplify the life at the end of the story for all solution partners, for they can create durable integrations and much more flexible than in the past because they are completely decoupled from the monolith. So if you want to, for example, be switching something from one specific data flow in the shipment side, you don't need to deploy the whole core development. You probably will just need to deploy one single runtime action inside your optimal project. So that reduces heavily the time of the development. We run it the beta, and the outcome of the beta is that starting from a scratch with App Builder or starting with integration starter kit, there is a reduction of the development up to 50%. If we think about a typical integration, right? From end to end, all the different personas, people always start with a business persona that want to change one behavior, right? And for change that behavior, you need to understand about which are the different systems that need to interact to being able to propose and change that behavior for a specific person. That directly switching a second stage where you are more focusing, which is the data flow, which are the different information that need to flow against the systems and how that data will be enriching other pieces to, at the end of the story, change that behavior. The third typical thing that you need to have into consideration is, okay, what is the tool set that they will be using? In that case, we are talking today about a builder that could be others if you are using other toolsets. And last but not least, how I build that, right? How I build it from a low level standpoint, how I am extending something, how is the flexibility that I need to ensure that at the end of the thing, I connect the dots. I start to do this national integration. I start to build from an API calling that specific API. Right. The integration starter kit try to simplify the center of that data. Try to define which are the best practices from data flow perspective, presenting already existing data flows pre-integrated. Present many tool sets instead of onboarding to spin out a new project in a builder that create all the structure required from a provider eventing registration runtime action perspective. And also create a data structure and a code structure that allows you to have a single manner of how to make that data flow following best practices and having extensibility mechanisms like pre-process, post-process, transformation, send data, and other hooks that you can be changing to adapt each of the data flows to the business requirement of your merchant. For the end of the story, go to the last mile and ensure that the expected behavior of the first stage is being reflected in the last stage. Last slide, and I stop bothering you just with theory. I will start to explain what we will be seeing in the next 30, 40 minutes, the interesting part, right? The part that everyone wants to see. So let me explain one typical use case. That will be the use case that we will be implementing today. We want to integrate 3 different systems because one of the things that Angel and myself were speaking here is that starter kit is not only to connect point-to-point things, right? It's not only to connect Adobe Commerce with whatever other system, it's also to interconnect system to achieve and commerce experiences. So in the example of today, we'll be showcasing the case where I place an order in Adobe Commerce. That order needs to be exposed for 2 main purposes. One is because I want to connect with my email provider to send an email confirmation. And the second one is because I need to send that order to my order management system because I have an order management system that manages the whole order lifecycle. And last but not least, this order management system has the responsibility of the human flow process. We'll need to send back information to Adobe Commerce when the shipment has been done for the shopper is having visibility about the tracking mechanism, the state of the order at shipment flow. So some challenging, but we will try to complete in 30 to 40 minutes. So that will be the perfect description if we achieve it to make the statement that integration strategy is helping you to make it faster and clean. And with that, I pass the ball to Angel that will start to do the magic.
Okay. Thank you, Danny. As Danny explained, we're going to integrate commerce with an OMS system. We made that system. It's a mock OMS. And this is the API. It listens for requests on this rel. I like it on screen, and it has different endpoints to different operations. Now you can create an order through post requests, the orders, and delete order. And this is the payload that it is going to accept. As we see, it's not the same payload as commerce, which is inspected, so we might need to do some transformation before calling this API. And also, when an order is, it is able to generate an event, and this is the format of the event when an order is shipped. No, it's the order ID, the items that have been shipped, and it's going to provide some information about the tracking and a comment that we want to show. So we are very pre-connected to this OMS with endpoint that event provider that we're going to create. So when we start an order from the UI, you will generate an event and it will hit a builder and eventually it will take order in commerce. That's the main goal. And it has a nice UI interface. When it hits an order, it's going to be shown here. Okay, so let's start with the implementation. This is Starter Kit project as checked out from the GitHub repository. We're going to start from scratch. And normally when we try to do an integration, we will follow like the README. And in the README, it details some prerequisites, like the creation of an builder project. To save us some time for this demonstration, I already went through these steps. and this is the click that we click. If we added the required APIs to use the starter kit, which has these three listed here, and still we haven't deployed anything. And also we have downloaded the workspace JSON, detailed in the documentation, and we can see it downloaded here. Okay, so this is our workspace configuration that provides details needed to connect with some data. Then also we need to customize the Commerce instance. We already did that. So it's like we install the Adobe I/O events extension, and we create a new integration that can be used to accept the request from Apple. Now that we are in this stage, we are in a position where we can start implementing or coding the integration. npm install, I already logged into the Adobe I/O and run the I/O app use command. The first thing that we find in the README is to edit the app config YAML file to adapt starter kit, which don't forget it's an scaffolding. It makes some opinionated about what things can be implemented and not, but yeah, the idea is that you take it and you make it yours. For example, in the integration that Daniel was describing, we are mainly interested in order process. So that if we open the app config.yaml, we will see that there are runtimes configured here. And this is what we recommend. If you don't need it, remove it. It will make the footprint of the project smaller. You don't want to deploy code that is not going to be used. We recommend to keep this starter kit dimension because we use it to track adoption, and it will help us to get an idea of how many people is using starter kit and so on. So if you can leave it, we strongly recommend it. Yeah, there is some commented out, but we don't need to add webhook. We don't want to play anything with webhooks. There are a couple of commerce product related things. We delete them also for customer. Again, it's the interesting stuff, no? We want a builder or a starter kit application that we're going to develop is interested in order events coming from commerce and order events coming from the back office. So we leave these two, and we can remove anything related to the stock because it's not considered for our API. The next thing to do will be sensing for actions. Not this. Here we have a lot of runtime actions that are expected to respond to events that are not needed for this integration. And there is plenty of documentation about how the code is organized, but for now we will do the cleanup and making the same assumption. No customer is not needed, so we delete ingestion, product, but cool, we can get rid. So now we have cleaned up our project. We have the things that we need. Let's check also inside the order commerce. So now these are order events coming from commerce. We're going to be interested in when an order is data, when an order data, so we leave these things. And from the external system, we see that we can potentially use them for human create, human update, and order update. So I'm going to also delete the updated because we don't need it. And then in order to be consistent, I need to check the actions config YAML, which are connected this runtime action. So in order to make everything consistent, I am going to do it. This is the application that what we are going to deploy. And this is the functionality. We haven't made any customization yet. And before doing anything, I'm going to deploy it. And because it's the first time that I'm deploying the project, it's going to take a while because it's going to deploy all the runtime actions that we have configured here. In the meantime, and while this finishes, we can do other customizations. And it's related to the part that Danny mentioned. We have provided some automation to make it easier to configure and set up and start the project. Now, commerce extension or integration based in API. And this is the onboarding script and the commerce events script. And they are driven by, the configuration is driven by some files. So we need also to customize these files. And again, If we take the registrations, we see that there are also listed the same entities. In our particular case, we are only in commerce, so we're going to remove anything else. I'll leave only the relevant parts for our integration. We are still interested in having two event providers. And in events, this is like the pre-configured or predefined set of events that we provide with the starter kit. But because we are not interested in most of them, we are going to eliminate the ones that we are not interested in. In order to that, let me do some copy-paste. And I'll take the file from here, and we can change it as we go. We are right. And now we see that the file is small and only concerned with the events that we are interested in, which is the commerce, or let's say commit after event. Out from the back office, we still using the same name proposed by the starter kit, but we configure the event to the format that is gonna send us the mock elements. So this example event is compliant with the specification that we got in from Commerce. Okay, I think that's everything. Another thing is that's everything from onboarding for the Commerce event subscribe, which is a script that automatically configures the event that we want Commerce to provide to app builder. The same approach. We have pre-configured several events, but we want to limit the configuration to only those that we are interested in. Again, I will replace the file with the one that I have prepared. And basically, it's like we are only interested in when an order is in Commerce, and also because we are dealing with an OMS, we are adding a few extra fields, basically related to this item. No, we want to know, in order to do the shipment, we need to know about the items. So that's why we extended the before event with this extra fields. And yeah, in the meantime, so we have configured the onboarding and the Commerce event subscribe. In the meantime, I noticed that the deployment has completed. Let's verify. One way to verify is if we refresh the runtime tab, we should see here appearing the runtime actions that we have deployed. And here we go. So we have deployed from the back office side the CRM updated and shipment created, as well as the consumer, and from Commerce order updated, created, and the status. Now that we are at this stage, and now that we have deployed runtime actions, we can get back to our ID and run the onboarding. This is the command to run onboard. It tells us what kind of providers it is gonna create, at what event is gonna register for each provider, and at the end it gives us like the provider that it created. We see a commerce provider, back office provider. The IDs are interesting because in order to send event to these providers, we need to know the IDs. And also another automation that we have is configure the events that the commerce could trigger. Again, this is another npm run command, and in this case is commerce event subscribe. So this is gonna hit an API in commerce, and it's gonna tell him to send this event when an order is okay. So now we have set up, and basically we have tailored the starting project to only make it aware of the things that we are interested in. At this point, we can already test the integration between commerce and an app builder or the starter kit project, and we can do this by creating a new order. I'm gonna create an order from the admin UI, or from there to trigger an event and hit update. I'm gonna be the customer. We only have one product. I'll add it to the order. Payment method is the default one. I'm checking the PIM method, and then I submit the order. So this should cause an event. And we did onboarding. Yeah. So, exactly. So running onboarding creates these event subscriptions. So we can check that the event that we created hit the commerce event registration, and we should be seeing an event here in our minute. So the process is that commerce stores event in a database, and there is a cron log running every minute that will create this table and generate the expected events and then according to the configuration in the Adobe I/O event, and a model. Okay, here is the event. We see the payload, which is contained here in this data key, among other things, and we can see the responses. And the responses is that order was created successfully, which is kind of lying because we didn't connect anything. So I don't know why it is not connected to somewhere. Don't worry. Okay. Now that we are connected commerce with a builder, we need to connect that builder with our Mocker OMS API application. In order to do that, I need to go to the developer, and we need to do some modifications to the created order. So in order to fulfill this last mile integration, I will do the same thing. I will copy paste some code. So we need to transform from the Adobe Commerce event format into the event that the payload for the post method expects to receive. So this is the logic that we are doing here, and this is one of the hooks that Danny mentioned in his presentation. And also the sender that before was dummy and didn't do anything, now needs to send a creator request to the Moco MS Service API. And in order to do that, we also we like to create like API clients. So we encourage people to do it. So we also provided this method. You're going to call the order endpoint with the payload that we pass. Okay, so this basically should be it. And also needs to know which is the API of the OMS. We'll have it here. I need to pass it as an input to the runtime action. And I already did before, but if you're wondering where this thing is coming from, it is coming from the .env file. Okay, so in the .env file, we have the OMS variable. We declare it in the action ML to pass it to the runtime action, and it will receive it. At this point, we are ready to redeploy our runtime action, and it should to the OMS. So again, we do IO deploy, and in this case, we are only going to deploy an individual runtime action because it will save us some time. We can specify the action in the command, and when this finishes, the new updated version of the action is deployed. So we can get back to commerce and create a new order, and we should see it created in the Moco elements. It's confirm this hypothesis. And then I add the CL product that we have available. So I will check the spin, and I will submit the offer. Okay, so if we change to a builder, we should see a second event in this endpoint. It shouldn't take more than 1 minute. And then eventually we should see it also being created here. And if it's can accelerate things by running cron job, let's see if that worked. And we check the database. This is the database where the data is persisted, and status 1 means that the server, the event has been treated. So if we refresh, we should see the event, second event here. It was processed correctly. And if we fix to the mock OMS system, we see that the order worked and is flagged as no seed. So this is like the first integration point. Now we're gonna go to when we hit this ship button, it will trigger an event like the one that we put in the API specification, and we want this event is gonna fit the back of event provider, and we want to create a segment in the Adobe Commerce. The part between app builder and commerce, it is already populated in the starter kit. So we just need to configure certain transformations to make the adaptations between the format of the events and so on, which is what we will do next. So in order to do that, I will follow the same approach to avoid errors, and I have prepared these copy pastes. Okay, so let's go to your check action. In actions, in this case, we are interested in the external, and in the external, in particularly in the segment created. So we make a change in some of these extension points. One of these, we implemented validation. The validation is based on a JSON schema. So we adapted the JSON schema to conform the specification of the mock OMS. And also in the transformer, we need to transform the incoming event into the format that the API in Commerce to create a sheet which is done in this part here. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all the things relevant. Also, I don't know. That's I think that's everything that we need. So what I'm gonna do an IDOP deploy, and I should deploy the new functionality. In this case is or the freeze. Okay, so it finished, and now we have a runtime action that when we trigger the event, we react to it and create a segment in Commerce. So this is the increment ID number 20. We click the ship button. It says that it was successful, but let's see. So we should see here an event in the back order, event registration, and refresh it, and effectively we have it here. It was successfully processed, and this means that we can expect this order to have been shipped. So if we repeat the order now, we will have the refresh order, we have the shipment created through the API. We can see the details. It talks about mock carrier, mock OMS as we introduced it in the response, and also I think we can see like the new comment, which is here, no? Order sheet by mock OMS. Okay. So that's the second part accomplished. So we have single point integrations between Commerce and an OMS, and the other way up from OMS to Commerce. And then just to finish, and the last part that we want to show is thing that we consider as interesting use case, and is adding a third provider. No, we have seen people using a starter kit using only Commerce 7 provider and external provider, but we just want that the opportunity to add a third provider. No, so in order to do that, we add code that I'm gonna copy here. And what did I did? I added up the folder. So we have this email provider, or email system that is also interested in order events, particularly in the created event, and it has like this business logic. It follows the same pattern as other runtime actions. And mainly the only thing is that in the index is gonna show a message saying that an email was it is not gonna do more than that. And then also we need to configure the runtime action. We need to configure the runtime actions to be.
So, Angel, I have a quick question. On the email side, the folder that you've created, as you mentioned, follows the same structure as the other ones. The integration starter kit is meant to be extended. The customers take it and make it your own. So this is something that you created prior to this demo and then just copied it into the code. And then you'll need to redeploy it to then add this to the package.
The standard kit, if you deploy it, you will get what you just see on the first step that I did. Commerce will trigger an event, you will activate a runtime action, but the runtime action is doing nothing. So we expect people to fill the gap in the last mile integration.
Pour their own configuration / code.
Okay. Oh yeah, we added this folder which contains all this business logic related to email, and also we need to add all these runtime actions to the application, which we can see here. Okay. So now again, this code is in my local machine. In order to make it available to Apple running on the cloud, we need to run this runtime action. I'm gonna choose only to deploy the actions that we modify to save us something.
In the example that now Angel will be showing, we decided to use another of the hooks that is commonly available in the starter kit. So he will be showcasing the case where in a post action after the order is being created and confirmed in the OMS, you are publishing an event on a new provider that will be the email provider, right? That will be what will activate and trigger that new registration that was made. We are making that to just showcase another of the hooks that we are having after showcasing the send data and the transformation for the other use cases, but could be also super feasible to, instead of making that the post action is triggering the event to the event provider, that there is two registrations subscribed to exactly the same event triggered to one of the providers. So when the commerce provider is getting the commerce order created, could be two completely independent, but they should be activated. In that case, we are getting like a dependency. We want to send the order confirmation email just when the order management is confirming that the order is being received, but just for that purpose. But you can also arrange that in a completely different manner with the configuration that we were showing before, the JSON files, if you want to match any other
requirement or pieces. Yeah, thanks, Danny, for the explanation. Another thing that we need to do is we need to configure the provider, which is actually done through this little highs in the onboarding script. No, we are registering this new email-related event. We just make up the name, then we'll have the new provider, and then in the starter kit registrations, we are saying that for order event, the email provider is also interested in this kind of events. So we already deployed our code. I guess it's time to run on board and see the new provider created and the new event registration. And effectively, we see a third provider being created. And if we go to a builder and refresh the page, we should see a registration on the left-hand side on the screen. And here's this one. Okay. And another thing that we are adding is, you remember we are adding these sample events. This is a super nice feature because it's like a documentation. No? Okay, I want to deal with it. Event integration, so you can see the format of the data. And also you can trigger the sample event. So I'm gonna trigger it. It is gonna hit the endpoint, and eventually I will see here that comes. Okay, so there it is. This could be used to tell your data that the runtime action is accepting the parameters that it should, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, and we see here the make sense that we're gonna expect. But this is not what we want. We want to trigger this event from Adobe Commerce. So let's get back to our technical exercise. So just to finish, we need to, as Danny mentioned, need to add functionality to the order commerce runtime action in the post processing part to trigger an event to commerce. And again, I'm gonna copy the code that I prepared, and we'll see what we'll modify. Right. Okay. So mainly the business logic is gonna be, all the modifications are gonna be here with the post code or post processing code. And we see that we are initializing an event client that needs parameters and so on. And we are sending this event email event provider. So this required also to add new configuration values to the created runtime action, which luckily we already had in the .m file, such as all these OAuth parameters required by Adobe to interact with the event ingress API, and also the event provider ID where we're gonna send the event. Okay, so once we have done this, we're gonna deploy the new version of the runtime action. It's again the comments created because we only changed this one. And again, to test that everything works together, we want to, okay, because the plot, we want to test by creating an ordering cover. So let me create a new order. And yeah, I'm gonna pick the, and I can submit the order created. So eventually we will see here, commerce event order thing, a new event. Okay, there it is. Successful processing. We should see a second order created in the OMS. And then if we check in the email event registration, we should see the event coming from the post-processing. And we see that the order ID corresponds with the one that we created, which is 7171. So that's pretty much everything that we wanted to show. I hope you like it, and looking forward for feedback.
Cool. Yeah, let me go to this one because this is the latest. I will be doing that super quick. Let me do a recap. So we were saying the slide number 4 that basically a startup kit is worrying about the centerpiece, right? And all the code that Angel was showing is mainly about building the last mile integration, having the framework, having the sensibility tool, having the mechanisms to create all of that providers, all of that depending thing is something that was quite trivial with the startup kit. And this was the whole proof. So you need to focus on which is the information that you need and the last mile integration. And the rest of the thing, you will get the tool set and the benefit of the startup kit to helping you on that path. That is available in Experience Day. I think I've already published the links, but basically we prepared 5 lessons. So more than probably some of the most basic questions that we receive are the ones that you probably have in your head. So I encourage you guys to go and check the lessons. Each one of the lessons have code samples in the case that we are following a really similar approach like we follow it today, real use case, and let's focus on whatever of the PACS lesson. And we also published a reference application in Adobe Exchange. It's free. So it's a real implementation with an enterprise ERP. So if someone is thinking about building something enterprise, probably having the head just right now, and helping something 3D, something simple, right? It's just a more OMS. You also have a reference application about how to connect with Microsoft F&O. That is one of the most complex ERP in the system. So we built that in conjunction with one of our solution partners, and this is now available in Adobe Exchange. There is already partners that are doing that, right? And that's probably the most nice thing here. We are seeing how partners are not only learning about Starter Kit, are really triggering and publishing our application in Adobe Exchange. So aside of the one that I already explained it, that Microsoft F&O, it's already available, an EPIC or ERP. NPL P21 built by Steel Commerce. And Roger Cyber is just ending the publishment of the new integration with Step for ERM. So there is a lot of opportunity here. We are really anxious to get more partners. And if you have any interest on connecting with any back office system, you will get our contact. So please reach out to us and we will be helping your team to do that. Aside of that, many other things that you have from an enablement perspective, we are running partner labs. We are having a GitHub repository. It's fully public. You can fork it. You can do whatever you want. You can open issues. We already closed some of them. So we are really encourage everyone to do that. And something a bit special, we have a public Slack channel. I like that it's a really good idea to say it here because probably we'll have 100 messages tomorrow. But the whole purpose of it. So yeah, if you have any API, anything that you want to have in your head, any know how to learn more, we are here to help. Please reach out if you're having any question. And yeah, anxious to get more partners that are building integration like the one that we already have on flight. And I think now I ended, so we have questions can respond then.
To kick off, so this was a great example of showing how to extend the functionality and integrate Adobe Commerce with back office systems, with email, etc. In the episode of Web Currents, that CMS commerce integration, we had a conversation with Tyler from Blue Acorn about out-of-process extensibility and how it provides a great deal of flexibility to our customers. What advice would you give to developers in terms of building out these integrations? Would you build a project so that it's more isolated and it's following maybe one or two connection points? Or would you build larger integrations that provide more functionality? Is there any benefit to either of those approaches?
That is one of the greatest things of a build, I will say, because all the tenant providers that you were seeing created during the last minutes are shared across the organization. So if you want to have a single builder application with 20 runtime actions, and then you decide to split it in multiple applications, it's super simple because you still have all the mechanisms in place from an IO eventing perspective. It's just how you interconnect. You can make also that you have one single application that is managing product data and another application that is managing. So you can scale your modeling, whatever is the manner that you prefer, depends on the business of your customer, right? So I think that is one of the strongest things here. Our recommendation is take advantage of the tools to interconnect the things. And when there are things like this one, where one depends a lot on the result of the other, makes sense that you are making grow the app. If you are seeing really disconnected sections that probably are critical from a business criticality perspective, like for example, stock, probably makes sense to completely separate it, right? So I think depends a lot on the use cases. But yeah, our guidance is that just try to take advantage of the eventing thing, the one of the things we were saying at the beginning, and all that MM providers are shared across the organization.
That's great. Thanks, Danny. Okay, so we've got some questions. I'm going to throw them up here. So Joe asks, would full data syncs be handled or just event-based?
That's a really good question. So the way that we are envisioning that, and we know that there are already partners building that due to our guidance, is that in the same manner that you are having individual runtime actions that are flowing, I will say, event-based atomic sequences, you can also be building runtime actions that are just pulling information from an API first approach, getting all that information and pushing events being atomic or in a chunk base to one event provider. So this is how we envision that. And also in Appian, you can, for example, do a cron runtime style. So you can be saying that one specific runtime action that is a daily sync will be executed every 24 hours. We call an API to check what was changed in the last 24 hours and will generate the events for you are executing them automatically. So we recommend that once you try to do full data, you try to export events with gigantic payloads because they are needed from a performance perspective and to take advantage of the retry mechanism about many other things that Apple provides to you. we recommend that you build runtime action that connect against an API, decide what is the false thing that want to execute, chunk that in logical amount of data, like for example, I don't know, 10 different SKUs per product perspective, and register that events in a provider and execute them.
Essentially, it's a flexible approach to building out the data integrations. Okay. I have another question. Product looks good. Product update process in Adobe Commerce for products that already exist in Adobe Commerce. Are you updating all products or only the ones that have actually changed? Do you detect which part of the product has changed and update only that specific part? Yeah, this sounds like it's for you. Additionally, how much time is required to import 1,000 simple products with optimized 2 to 3 images per product?
Yeah, I think all that depends. It depends on the peculiarities of the catalog. So the way that these today prepared from a product update standpoint is that we are reaching not the full KPI, we are reaching the atomic KPIs. But in the case that you want to perform even better, you can also decide to call the bulk KPIs from Commerce and start to import products in a chunk perspective, right? That is something that we commonly recommend when they are trying to import huge amount of data from external systems, for example, PIMs. From a product update perspective, you can specify with filters when do you want to export the best Adobe colors, in the sense of I only want to export the best when, I don't know, quantity is bigger than 2. Basically, you can specify when do you want to export the best, and that events will only be triggered when updates thing happening in the product. And in the opposite manner, for example, with a PIM, you will have more than probably the bulk update, but you will be also having a webhook approach where you can get updates when that is being changing in the PIM to do the updates during the day. That also depends a lot on the capacity that the multiple systems have to export events in which mechanism for. But I will say that from an integration tool perspective, have a lot of flexibility to being building the integration. In terms of performance for 1,000 SKUs, at the end, the performance is really attached with the system that you are connecting for, right? The unique main difference is that with that event-based thing, you can parallelize stuff. So you can be knowing that 5 threads in parallel in commerce is still performing well for my specific merchant use case. So I could be subscribing to events and triggering them with a certain speed or a certain whatever. So that is flexibility on how to do that. But of course, it's also depending on your business needs.
We are at the top of the hour, or the folks that didn't get something in for us to answer during the session, maybe through the public Slack channel, right? I want to thank you so much, Danny and Angel, for a fantastic presentation. And thank you everyone for joining us. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend. Thanks, guys.
Thank you to everyone.
Oh, thank you.